So I'm David Etheridge. I'm the CEO of SavvyCard, and I started my career in Hollywood. Actually, I worked in film for a couple of years, and kind of learned that what you imagine you're going to be when you grow up and graduate from college isn't always where you end up. I actually spent 2 years working as an extra and a lighting double and a stand-in for probably 30 films, but never actually got the line that I needed to get my SAG card so that I could actually work and make a living at it. And I got very lucky. I connected with somebody who worked with Disney in their Burbank studios, and I was telling them that I had a real passion for film and video, and that I was looking for a way to find a career, maybe in acting, but maybe in something else that would take advantage of that. And they actually suggested that I come over and talk to the the folks in the interactive division at Disney. And so I actually got a job there and started in producing software. And spent 15 years in the entertainment software industry with Disney Interactive, Microprose, which was one of the top game development companies back in the 90s, doing flight simulators and strategy games, and then ended up with Hasbro Interactive doing business development with their interactive division. And it was kind of exciting. People have seen the movie Big with Tom Hanks, and where he basically gets to play with toys all day, and that's kind of what I got to do for Hasbro in the interactive side. So I spent several years looking at all the new interactive and electronic inventions that were being brought into Hasbro and making recommendations to the board of directors on which products to pick up. And then I met my wife, and we moved to San Francisco and both worked in .com startups for a couple of years, and then the .com bust happened, and we decided we were kind of tired of working for other folks, and so we started our own digital agency called Savvy Dog Design, and we've had that company for 12 years, and it's a successful lifestyle company. And I've always been waiting for the right opportunity to do a technology startup. And about 3 years ago, with the kind of emergence of smartphones, I realized it was the right time to jump into an entrepreneurial venture. And so we started up a company called SavvyCard. And SavvyCard is really interesting. It's a company that mass produces mobile websites. And I like to just give an example of what it is that we do. We just recently launched with Miami Association of Realtors. And over the course of a couple of weeks, we deployed over 30,000 mobile websites for all of the realtors in the Miami Association, all of their staff members, their board members, and we put in place a system that will allow realtors to create mobile websites for every property and home listing in the Miami MLS, which over the course of a year could be as many as 150,000 homes. So when I say we mass produce mobile websites, Miami is a great example, because over the next year, we may have produced 180,000 websites just for that one relationship. Yeah, it's really interesting. I was at a presentation that was held by Mark Swanson at Tampa Bay Wave recently, and Mark's a very successful entrepreneur in the Tampa Bay area, and he put a slide up on the screen where they had essentially asked a number of entrepreneurs what they thought was the most important skill that entrepreneurs could develop in order to give them the best chance of succeeding. And the number one skill that entrepreneurs selected was networking. A lot of people, I think, would be surprised by that. But I think that networking is absolutely the most essential skill that not just entrepreneurs, but business people everywhere need to develop. If I had a son or daughter that was graduating from school, I would tell them that I think almost regardless of their career, one of the skills that they would absolutely have to develop in order to ensure their success would be learning how to go and engage people and build relationships and create the trust capital that networking creates, because in this day and age, if you can't build relationships with people who are going to be your potential clients in the future, or who are going to refer you potential clients in the future, or who are going to refer you to your next employer or to a strategic partner, I think you're at a tremendous disadvantage to the people who understand the importance of networking and who have developed that as a skill. Well, I think we're lucky that we live in a time where there are more networking opportunities than possibly ever before. I think it really boils down to really two different places that you're going to hunt in kind of a broad sense. And the first is on the internet. And there are many different social networks where you can go and build relationships and then kind of grow those relationships and evolve them over time so that eventually they'll begin to bear fruit in terms of introductions to potential clients or employers. And obviously there are dozens of tools out there that you can use. But I would say that the first thing that someone who's looking to connect for business purposes, the first thing they need to do is really get out and understand the social media systems and tools that are available to them and really embrace them. I hear people all the time saying, well, I don't have a Facebook account or a LinkedIn account because I'm just not sure what kind of value that's going to create for me. And then I ask them, well, did you study them? Did you explore them? Did you do research on these social media systems and how they could effectively be used to help you network? And they say, no, I just don't really think that's for me. And I think that the people that make that decision are really putting themselves at a significant disadvantage to business folks that take the time and the effort to really understand what those tools are for and how they can be used to grow their business. But I think the most exciting area for people to network and grow their reach is in all of the local organizations that are kind of popping up. Some are new and some are existing organizations like chambers of commerce that are just beginning to adopt some new practices to help their members more effectively network and grow relationships within their organization. And so I would say that in either case, whether we're talking about online communities or offline communities, local or even regional or national communities, I think the most important thing is to go out and visit those organizations and their networking meetings and their groups that are available online and just test drive them. There are some networking groups that are going to be effective for small businesses and some are not. There are going to be industry-specific networking groups that may appeal to one type of company but not really provide value for another. But I don't think there's any one rule that can be applied broadly to everyone. I think that you have to use the internet to identify what types of networking opportunities there are in your local community and in your industry. And then, Woody Allen famously said 90% of success in life is showing up. And so I think you just have to show up. And as you do that, not only will you learn whether or not a particular networking organization is for you, but you'll meet other people who have the same idea. They're trying to go out and network themselves, and they'll tell you where they've seen the most success, and that'll help to guide you where you maybe need to go next. Business networking is really about creating trusted relationships. People are not likely to refer you to someone that they know and who is a part of their network unless they believe that referral is going to reflect well on them. And I think it's kind of interesting. I often ask people a series of questions just because I'm really interested in how people value relationships relative to how they value money. And the question that I ask is, I'll get them to pick, just in their mind, to pick a professional contact that they have. Doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be, like a client. It can be anyone in their professional world that they value as a connection. And I ask them to hold that in their mind. And then I ask them whether they would, prefer to have that relationship or $100 in cash. And I've never had anybody say I'd rather have $100 in cash. And then I asked them, what about $1,000 in cash? And 99% of the time they say, I'd rather have the relationship. And then I asked them $10,000. And I've had a couple of people say, well, okay, at 10,000, I might want the money, but I think I still want the relationship. Generally, everyone with almost without fail begins to waver when I say, how about $100,000 in cash? And that's the point where people start thinking, well, maybe I'd rather have the cash. And what that says to me is that people kind of intuitively understand the value of a relationship is more or is consistent with the average annual salary, right? So it's kind of tremendous when you think about that because, if we talk about our individual net worth in terms of dollars, I mean, we might be worth tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars, or if we're lucky, we're worth millions of dollars. But if you begin to talk about your net worth in terms of kind of relational capital, and you have 20 or 30 good business connections, then you're probably a multimillionaire in terms of the value of the relationships that you have. And I think that when people begin to think of it in those terms, they begin to maybe believe that, wow, maybe I'm a lot richer in terms of relationships than I previously imagined. And I think what's really important in those relationships is the value that you attribute to them is almost entirely predicated on how trustworthy you are and how much you trust that individual. When we talk about referrals, and it's really important to understand that 70 to 80% or more of all new business across any industry segment comes through some type of word of mouth or personal referral. There are some industries that are outliers that's not the case. Amazon.com, for example, retail often is not going to be that case. But for the vast majority of businesses, 7 or 8 out of every 10 new customers is coming to your business because somebody said, I got a guy. I know a guy and I trust that person. And I know that when I send you to that person, it's going to reflect well upon me. And so when you combine those two things, you combine the fact that we value those relationships that we currently have so incredibly high in terms of the dollar value of those relationships, with the fact that when you refer someone to one of those relationships, you're really risking your credibility with that person. You can see why kind of referrals and relationships are in many cases more valuable than money, and it all revolves around trust. So the reason that we call it trust marketing is because if you're going to go out and try to grow your business, one of the most cost-effective ways to do so is to go and build your network of trusted relationships, because those people, once you've created a good relationship with them where they trust you, they're going to be very likely to refer business back to you. And the quality of those referrals is oftentimes going to be tremendous. They're going to be easier to close, and often they're going to be lifelong customers that are going to generate a large amount of revenue for your company. And in turn, they're going to refer your business onto their network as well. And we already see a lot of this occurring with social media, where you're seeing people refer someone that they do business with through Facebook or Twitter or other social media accounts, LinkedIn, and it creates tremendous visibility for the company or the person they're referring. And so it's becoming even more valuable as the world gets more and more connected, and we begin to trust the people that are in our social network more and more. Technology, I mean, there's a never-ending parade of new applications and new social media services and other products and tools designed to help business people be more productive. And some of them are very, very effective, and some are less effective. It's kind of funny because almost every time I speak at an event about trust marketing or about networking, someone will come up and they'll say, have you heard of Bump? Which is kind of a cool application that allows you to pass your contact information to somebody else who has the application by bumping your phones together. And I think you need to draw a distinction between business applications that are kind of novelty items and those that actually are fundamentally going to impact your business in terms of saving you time, saving you money, or actually generating quantifiable leads and ROI on your business networking activities. And so Bump kind of falls into the first category, because if you've ever been to a networking event and you've said, well, I want to exchange contact details, using Bump, you'll find that you're wandering around the room going, do you have Bump? No? Okay, well, I'll give you my business card. Do you have Bump? No? Okay, well, I'll give you my business card. When you find somebody that has Bump, it's really exciting, but it's unclear how valuable Bump is as an actual business productivity or sales tool. So I think the most important thing that you can do when you're looking at technology is really do an evaluation of whether or not something is kind of cool and is a novelty, and whether something is actually going to benefit your business in the short and long term. So with that said, LinkedIn is a tremendous tool for enhancing your ability to not only connect with people who could be potential customers or strategic partners, but also with doing research. I think that, and a lot of people do this, so this is nothing kind of extraordinary, but I think that every time we have a meeting with a potential new investor or client, one of the first things we do is go to LinkedIn and really research that individual and understand who they are and whether or not we have other relationships with common relationships with people that we can bring up in the meeting and kind of help us to create a connection with that person. So if you're not currently using LinkedIn, I highly recommend it. And it's not just about getting your information out to the world. It can be used as a tremendous tool for research and for hiring, which obviously is one of the things that LinkedIn is focused on. There are a number of other tools out there that I think are emerging in this space. And when I say this space, I mean particularly the trust marketing or referral marketing space. But it's unclear yet who's going to really emerge as the winner. Obviously, with our company SavvyCard, trust marketing and referral marketing is a huge component of what we're trying to facilitate for our customers, and we believe that we've got a unique solution that will not only make it easier to pass referrals and to get referrals from your existing customers, but also to track those referrals and to generate a return on investment on your trust marketing or referral marketing activities. But there are going to be a lot of other companies that are going to be targeting this space in the next few years, and I think you just have to keep your eye out for technologies that potentially address a problem or a need that you've identified for your company. But at this point, I think that it's kind of wide open. With the exception of LinkedIn and other social media tools like Facebook and Twitter, the referral and trust marketing space is really going to be an area that's going to, I think, have tremendous new tools and technologies that are going to emerge in the next couple of years. And I think that whoever's responsible for technology tools within your company, they should really be keeping an eye out for what the big new thing is, and then presenting that to the sales force, so that you make sure your sales folks are aware of new technologies and how they might address some of the problems that they're facing. One of the most important things I think that I can say to any business person is you need to understand how to engage your customers on mobile devices. By the end of this year, 80% of all web usage is expected to be mobile. And Google just recently came out with some statistics where they suggested that people are 80% likely to leave your website and not engage if they're on their mobile device and your website's not mobile optimized. So you combine those two things together, and it means that if your competitors have a mobile solution and you don't, you're going to be losing a tremendous amount of potential customers who are on the web searching for solutions on their mobile devices to your competitors who are prepared with a mobile solution. So I think that you need to pay attention in the referral marketing and trust marketing space, but I think any business that's not prepared to effectively engage, reach out to and build and maintain a direct relationship with their customers on their mobile devices is in serious jeopardy of being marginalized by their mobile competitors. So my favorite story, I'm a part of a BNI group, and originally I joined the group because I thought it was a tremendous opportunity to kind of do a focus test, right? Here are 50 plus individuals in small, medium, and large businesses that range from mom and pop businesses to enterprise companies, and they're across all different types of business sectors. And I thought, hey, I can go in here and show them SavvyCard and really get a cross section of what people think of this, how they think it'll fit into their business, and everything else. And I also thought, hey, some of the people in this group, maybe the financial advisor or the CPA or some of the lawyers, they might be good referral sources for connecting with potential clients and with investors. And I was really surprised. I mean, first of all, it ended up being a tremendous place for us to go and focus test our product. We got wonderful feedback from all of all of my fellow BNI members, and it helped us to really tweak our product and to improve it. But the most surprising thing that came out of it was over the course of over 2 years of being in this group and networking with these folks, the best referrals came from people in industries that I would never have identified as potential referral partners for a technology startup. Probably the best is a gentleman named Tracy Allen Jones, and Tracy Allen Jones is a sports massage therapist. And in retrospect, I can see why he was such a great referral source, because he's kind of like your hairdresser or your bartender. I mean, when you've got a injury, your knee is hurt because you're playing field hockey or whatever, and you got taken out, or whatever it is that you're doing, you go to your sports therapist, and they probably work on your knee for an hour once a week. And a sports massage therapist isn't necessarily the cheapest service that you can go out and get. So a lot of his clients are CEOs, executives, lawyers. They're exactly the type of person that we're trying to connect with on an investment standpoint, and the decision makers at some of the companies that we're interested in speaking with. And Tracy became a very, very avid early adopter of the SavvyCard technology from the very beginning. He was one of the first people to create a card and to start using it as a referral tool. And so he really was passionate about the technology and using it. And what we found, and this is kind of the cardinal rule of referral marketing, it's always easier for someone else to sell your technology than it is for you to sell your own technology. And I think this applies to any business. And so what was happening was Tracy was, he'd have an hour sitting there working on someone's quads or whatever it was, and I'd start chatting with him, and he'd tell him, I've got this new technology. Have you heard of SavvyCard? And I think it's really interesting, and you should take a look at it. And invariably, these people would remember this, and because they obviously trusted Tracy, they would take his advice and they'd go check it out. And we got a number of wonderful, high quality referrals out of Tracy, basically evangelizing SavvyCard. And in fact, I went back recently and looked at all of the investment that we had acquired to date, and the majority of our investment had come through referrals and introductions that Tracy Allen Jones, the sports massage therapist, had made on our behalf. And I think that that's tremendously revealing, because you look at almost any any person, and you never know what relationships they're going to have. They might be a landscaper, but they work on the lawn for the owner of a local NFL sports team, right? Or it could be someone that works in a restaurant, but one of their best customers is the CEO of a company that you're interested in getting into. So I think one of the lessons that we've learned is you want to do everything you possibly can to communicate what you do and the broader value of what you do to almost every person you come in contact with, because you never know when they're the son or daughter or best friend or landscaper or massage therapist of your perfect client. And so that's been a tremendously surprising kind of revelation for us. trust marketing really is a lifelong pursuit. I mean, I think everybody will immediately realize that if you're building relationships over the long term, those are going to be more valuable in terms of helping you to grow your business or create visibility for your business than if it's a short-term relationship. And there's a saying in the entrepreneurial community when you're raising capital. Ask for money, get advice. Ask for advice, get money, right? And what they're really characterizing is if you're selling yourself all the time, then it creates a context for the relationship that is not necessarily the best context for closing a deal. It's kind of like the vacuum cleaner salesman. When they show up on your doorfront and knock on the door, the last thing you want to do is talk to a traveling salesman. So one of the best kind of suggestions that I can make for people in terms of networking is don't talk about yourself. Don't try to sell in the initial kind of conversation, maybe even ever. We've actually found that if someone is inclined to buy your product or is inclined to invest in your company, you almost never need to directly address that. They're going to bring it up. And so what ends up happening is we actually hold every 2 weeks in our office open houses, which are all about just creating visibility for our company. We just want more people to know who we are and what we do. And there are tremendous networking opportunities because we reach out to all of the folks that are already advocates for a company and say, look, we'd like to buy one of your friends or business associates lunch and invite them to come to our office and just learn about what we do. And what we found happens is that after we do a presentation and say what we do, everyone in the room starts coming up with ideas how they could apply our business and our technology to their needs. And if somebody is a potential angel investor, they're going to ask the question, hey, are you guys looking for investment? If they're a potential client, they're going to ask the question, how could this solution potentially solve one of our problems? If they're a potential strategic partner, they're going to ask the question, hey, this seems like it fits with what we do. Is there an opportunity for us to work together? And if they're none of those things, they're almost invariably going to ask the question, well, how can I help? What can I do to help you? And so it's kind of funny because I tell my VP of sales, I almost want to not sell. I want to just educate and inform people and let them buy, because if they see value in what we're doing, they're gonna buy on their own. So I think that in the short term, one of the biggest mistakes that people make is that they go into almost every conversation trying to close a sale. And so from a time frame perspective, I would say don't sell. Go into every conversation trying to build a relationship. And what that means is you're going to ask questions and do a lot of listening, because everybody likes to talk about themselves. And so from a networking perspective, when you meet somebody who's a perfect client for you, ask them about their business, ask them about their family, try to find common ground and build a relationship. The opportunity to close a deal, if it exists at all, will occur later on downstream, and you'll find that it's going to be a much easier process and a much more enjoyable process if you follow that kind of strategy than if you're constantly out there trying, pounding people and trying to close deals. And so I would say from the perspective of what kind of time frame you want to be looking at when you're networking, you always want to look at a relationship as a long-term investment. It might have a short-term payoff, but even then, you want to keep going back to that relationship over and over and over again for additional opportunities to sell to them, but also additional opportunities for them to refer you downstream to their network of relationships.